A programmer wrote the program below. Programmer uses a list of numbers called numList. The program is intended to display the sum of the numbers in the list. In order to test the program, the programmer initializes numList to 0, 1, 4, 5. The program displays 10, and the programmer concludes that the program works as intended. Which of the following is true? So we have this piece of code here that's supposed to display the sum of all the numbers in numList. So let's go through this code. So we have this variable sum, and it's assigned to the first number in numList. So just using this logic in this first line, this could be problematic because say you have a test case like 1, 3, 5. When you first initialize sum, it's initializing sum to the first number in sum list. So in the beginning here, it's initializing it to be 1. But we don't want the sum to start off at 1. We want the sum should start off at 0. We want to add to the sum once we get into the for each loop here. So this could be problematic, but let's keep going. So here we have a for each loop where for every value in num, so for every value is going to store the current number we're on in the num list, and it's going to iterate through every number in num list once and perform this action here. And this line says to assign to sum the value of sum, which is the current value of sum, plus the value, plus the value, the number value. So remember, value is the current number in the list. So if sum was, say, 0, and the value we were currently on this number here, it would add 3 to sum. So after we do this for every number in numList, or every value in numList, we display sum, which is the sum of all the numbers. So again, we see that this first line here is problematic because instead of assigning sum to 0 in the beginning, which is a natural thing to do when writing code that makes the sum of numbers in a list, instead it assigns it to the first number in the list. So say you had a list like 10, 1, 1, it would assign it to the first value in the list. So sum would start off at 10. But then once we get to the for each loop, sum would add the 10 again because it goes through every value in the num list. So it would start off at 10 and then add 10 and then add 1 and then add 1. And this would give us an incorrect sum. It would give us, in this case, it would give us a sum of 20 plus 1 plus 1, which would be 22. And in this case, it would give us a sum of 1 plus 1 plus 3 plus 5, which is 10, which is incorrect. These are all not the actual sum of the list because sum starts off at a non-zero number. In this case, however, the test case that the programmer used, the 0, 1, 4, 5, the answer, the displayed sum from this piece of code is the actual sum because the first digit was 0. So it didn't change the sum. The sum just got added 0 here. It was sum plus 0, and 0 didn't change anything. So that's why this code worked as intended for this test case here. But for any test case where the first digit, the first number in numList is non-zero, then it's going to calculate the wrong sum. So if we look at the answer choices, A says the conclusion is correct. The conclusion is correct. This is the sum of this here is 10, but the program does not work as intended because it only worked for this case here, but for other cases it will not work as intended because of the first line here. The conclusion is incorrect, so that's good. The conclusion is correct, however. The program does not display the correct value for the test case, 0, 1, 4, 5. So in this case, yeah, the program does display the correct value for 0, 1, 4, 5, but the conclusion that the program works is incorrect. C says the conclusion is incorrect. Using the test case 0145 is not sufficient to conclude the program is correct. Correct. The test case 0145 is not enough to prove that this code works because in this case the first digit is 0. In other cases, it won't be 0, and in those cases the program will not work. So yes, the conclusion that the program works as intended is incorrect. So C is likely the correct answer. But let's read D real quick. The conclusion is incorrect that using the test case 0145 only confirms that the program works for lists in increasing order. There's nothing to suggest that the program will work only for increasing order. The program doesn't care the order of the numbers. So no, the program doesn't work for even increasing lists of numbers that have a non-zero first digit. So D is incorrect. So C is the correct answer.